Today's video would vary from the norm. I've been showing you how to get to the top, not what to do when you arrive. Isn't it funny that these celebrities and people with billions of dollars still commit suicide? What could be the problem? Now, as a professional, when we analyze this from different perspectives, one factor could be they lack God. They are godless. One of the benefits you find in God is that He helps keep you in check. Conversely, this is what most people detest, that engenders to tilt away from the faith practice. But from a logical perspective, there are so many things. There's only so much God prohibits you from. But one key prohibition that is prevalent, especially with men, that most people battle with, is women. But if you had all the women in the world, if you could experience all the hedonism and attend every freak show that Diddy organized, at the end of the day, would that genuinely make you happy? Real question, would you really be happy with yourself after exploring all realms of hedonism? Exactly. You now see that what you call a prohibition is actually for your own good. It's like a parent telling his child not to eat that candy, not to eat a lot of candy, because he is an adult and he understands. A lot of this would ruin her teeth. Another one most people struggle with is, or another benefit you derive is you never feel empty. Majority of people sojourn this earth feeling tasteless. Their life is monotonous. Perhaps they get up every morning, they go to a job they don't like, they come back, they watch Netflix. After the Netflix, they sleep off, too scared to shout at their wife because they'll lose the house and lose the kids, and spend their entire life paying off some debts. It's a terrible way to live. And conversely, on the other end of the spectrum, where we have celebrities, most of them are tempted to use a Gulf Stream to fill the size only, or to fill the void only the size of God can occupy. There are certain things materials cannot give you. There are certain peace. There's a kind of joy that you cannot derive from the external. It has to come from within, which is the first thing. Second thing, rather. Another way we can look at it is, there are so many people who have walked this path you're on and are benevolent enough to reveal their scars and say, look, this was not the best of me. I wasted a lot of time doing XYZ. I spent all my 20s partying. I spent XYZ doing this. You learn from my experience, work hard, do this, do this, do that. And yet, nobody takes their advice. And why is that the case? I struggled. I won't say I struggled with it because that's a very tenuous word. But for so long, I pondered on this. Why do people, although they sustain the idea of the end result of their action, even negative, still walk through that path? I used to think it's because it was easy and it was more comfortable to go through the path of hedonism. I came up with another analogy. It's because most people think they are so special and this law doesn't apply to them. Extrapolated towards my own life, before I took boxing class, I used to think that it's impossible that someone can punch you up onto the point that you get knocked out, that everything goes black until you get knocked out. So do not wait till you have this experience before you learn from the lesson. The best way to learn from life is through experience. Second best way is from other people's experience. I'd rather learn from other people's experience than mine. The reality of it is, destiny is a function of time. The less mistakes you make on a journey, the better for you. Imagine someone going to, say, the US, for instance, and he took the route that leads to China. At the end of the journey, say it takes him 4 years to discover he's been on the wrong track. He not only has to realign himself back to the place of destiny, but he has to retrace his steps before he gets to the US. It's a terrible way, because the same time you spend on hedonism and pleasure is the exact amount of time it will take you to retrace your step back before you start learning the things that connotes to destiny. Imagine you spent a decade or 2 decades in hedonism. How long will it take you to retrace your step? Not to talk of finding your place in destiny, learning about purpose, being persistent, learning how to take risks. You're already at a disadvantage. So my friend, if it's you I just described, retrace your steps and start taking action. The best time to plant a tree was 5 years ago. The second best time is now. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect working condition. Perfect working condition is now. It's like a person saying, I would only make this journey when all the lights are green. Now, the chances of that ever happening, the chances of him making that journey are in the single digits. Never going to happen. So, friends, start taking action. Love God, find God, be the best version of yourself, and you'll be fine. Remember, everything that has happened to someone can also happen to you. There's this quote that if you see your neighbor's beard on fire, quickly soak your own with water, because your beard is made of that same material. They're all made from the same material. If it happens to someone else, it can invariably happen to you. Disregard those information that deludes you into believing you're special, up until the point that if you take negative actions, you wouldn't reap the repercussions. The fallacy. I remember those days. I believed God loved me, and I still do. So I would be lazy, inconsistent with my actions, and I believe that because of the love God had for me, He should bypass His rules and bring me towards success. It took me 2 years to learn that that's not the case. So my friend, if you're lazing around, if there's something you have or a purpose that you're not consistent towards, I urge you to start working as hard as possible. Do not learn from your own experience, learn from mine. It took me 2 years to understand the place, the role hard work, value, and productivity comes into play. So whatever it is, whatever gifts, whatever talent you've discovered, it is good that you've identified it. At least you know you have a place in destiny. It further raises you above the bar into the 10% category of people working in purpose. There was a study conducted by McKinsey in the early 1900s. The interviewer went around surveying the average individual as he went about his daily activities. Excuse me, sir. Why did you get up this morning and why do you go to your job? 90% of them gave the same answer. I don't know. Everybody does it. And at best, they might hit you with, I have to pay my bills, and I have to take care of my family, which is a worthy ideal, by the way. I believe anyone who does not cater for his family shouldn't be classified as a man. But you've discovered your purpose. But discovering your talent alone is only worthy of commendation, not reward. The second part of that discovery is laboring hard work, imbibing value system that makes you reproduce at a level that only you can bring forth. That becomes the distinguishing factor. It becomes your distinction across all stratas of mankind. Value. It's the same with crude. If you discover crude, it's worthy of commendation, but no one, at least at a retail level, would buy it off you. It's until it's refined and produced into gas, fuel, and all of its outlets, then people would pay money and say thank you for paying, because it is that valuable. Your talent is like that crude you've identified and discovered. Now you are saddled with the responsibility to take it to a level of competence such that I would pay you, and men like us would pay and state under your value. Also say thank you for paying. Until you've not gotten to that point, you're only worthy of commendation. As always, my friend, a pleasure speaking to you so much.